Hello, class. This is our lesson about a simple present tense as a review and a precursor for our present perfect tense. To understand the difference between the simple present tense and present perfect tense, why we have two different tense groups. Next, we will also do a lesson for simple past as a review, and then we'll do a comparison of simple past, present perfect, and simple present. But today, let's talk about the simple present tense, why we have this particular tense group, how we form the group, and in what cases we use that group. I'm going to share my screen with you. And first we will start with a short video from ESL library, and then we'll do some explanations, discussions, and exercises. Well, here's the video that I was talking about. Please listen to the explanations and to the reasons why and when to use the simple present tense. Also, the formation of simple present sentences, affirmative sentences, questions, and negative sentences.
ESL Library. Simple present. What are verb tenses? Verb tenses show the time that an action takes place. The simple present is a verb tense. We use the simple present tense for repeated actions. Repeated actions happen over and over again. For example, I eat breakfast every day. I read in bed every night. I always study after school. Simple present verbs have two forms. Which form do we use? That depends on the subject of the sentence. Subjects can be pronouns. Subjects can also be nouns. We use a base verb when the subject pronoun is I, you, we, or they. I walk to school every day. You always drink coffee. We sometimes eat dessert. They study every night. We use verb plus s when the subject pronoun is he, she, or it. He reads the newspaper on the weekend. She takes the bus to work in the morning. It sleeps on the couch every day. We use a base verb when the subject noun is plural. The students take the bus to school. My parents drink coffee every morning. We use verb plus s when the subject noun is singular. The student walks to school every day. My dog always sleeps on my bed. We also use verb plus s when the subject noun is non-count. Snow falls from the sky in winter. My hair grows quickly. Thanks for watching.
All right, so we have just watched the video, the introductory video. We only discussed the affirmative sentences here, and now we'll take a look at the grammar notes and we'll talk about affirmative sentences, negative sentences, and questions. So let's take a look at the affirmative sentence. All right, so the English word order, just as many other languages, is subject, verb, object. Your subject comes before the verb. It can only be a subject and the verb, but these two elements are really, really necessary to make a question. So, if your subject is a pronoun, such as I, you, we, or they, your verb will be just the base form. For example, I run, you run, we run, they run. And notice that you singular, one person you, and you plural, two or more people you, are the same, is the same pronoun and is the same verb form. So you will say you run. If your subject is singular, third person singular. Third person singular is he, she, it, one person. What we do, we add an S at the end of the verb. For example, he runs, she runs, it runs, right? So pay attention, especially for Spanish speaking or Portuguese speaking, for example, people. This is kind of the opposite what you have in your languages, because typically S represents the plural form. So pay attention that S at the end of the verb in English represents a singular form. He, she, it, singular, one person. He runs, she runs, it runs. So by the same token, if you have a noun, if you have a singular noun, for example, my friend runs. My friend is either he or she, and the verb will be runs as in the singular a singular verb. But if you have a plural verb, my friends, the verb is plural. It doesn't have an S in English. My friends run. It just has a base form, that's all. All right, so let's take a look at some spelling notes here. As we already said, for a singular, third person singular form, we have to add an S at the end of the verb. It's fairly simple, just add an S, but there are some spelling and pronunciation considerations. So let's take a look at the situation. These examples are examples of an S after a consonant. Eat. After a consonant, we simply add an S and we just say it. Say, I eat, he or she eats. I sing, he or she sings. I like, he or she likes. Well, in this case, in the case of like, you actually have a silent E, which is a vowel. However, if you say it, if you pronounce the word like, the final sound is K, which is a consonant. So in this case, you still simply add an S and you just pronounce that additional S. Uh, when you have words that end with a Y, there are some spelling considerations. For example, let's take a look at the word carry. The word carry ends with a Y, but you have to look at the preceding letter before Y. As you notice, your preceding letter here is R, which is a consonant, in which case we will change the Y into I. You can see carries, C-A-R-R-I, and then we add ES, ES. So carries at the third person singular, he carries, is going to be spelled like this, C-A-R-R-I-E-S, or try, same situation. We have an R before Y, which is a consonant, so we spell tries, she tries, or he tries, as T-R-I-E-S. And same thing for study, right? D is a consonant, so we change Y into I, and then we add ES. Okay, so let's take a look at the verbs that end with this sounds. These are called sibilants, all kinds of hissing type of sounds like s, sh, ch, x, these kinds of sounds. They add es at the end of the word, and that es is actually pronounced as an additional syllable. For example, the verb miss, right? So we have a double S here. What we're going to do, we're going to add es at the end, and we're going to say misses. He misses a lesson every day. All right. So if you think about it, the verb miss, how many syllables does it have? Miss, it has one syllable, right? And if I say misses, how many syllables do I have? Misses, I have two syllables, right? So if we compare it with, for example, with eat and eats, the verb eat, how many syllables do we have here? Eat, one syllable. And if I say eats, how many syllables do I have? Eats, still one syllable, right? Nothing changes in this case. However, in this situation, after this particular sounds or letters S, Z, combination SH, CH, or X, we have ES and we pronounce it as an additional syllable. Buzz is one syllable. Buzzes is two syllable. Is, we have to pronounce that is. I wash, he washes. I watch, she or he watches. I mix, he or she mixes. All right? Okay, so we've taken care of this situation. There is, as you can see, there is also one more letter here, a letter O. For example, as in go, I go, he goes, she goes. After O, we still have ES at the end, but we don't change the number of syllables. I go, go is one syllable, and goes is also one syllable. We don't say is in that situation, additional is, even though we add ES, like mix, mixes, go, goes, right? Okay, now, the third person singular of the verb to be is going to be is. I'm pretty sure you know this already because this is just the review. And the third person singular of the verb to have will be has. So you're going to say he is, she is, he has, she has, right? All right, very good. So let's try an exercise. With positive sentences. I blank breakfast at 7 o'clock every morning. So what are we going to choose here? Eat or eats? I is first person singular, and we only use an S for a third person singular. So we're going just to use base form. I eat breakfast at 7 o'clock every morning. He always blank a suit to work. He is one person, third person singular. So we're going to choose correct. Wears. He always wears a suit to work. Well, if you need a little bit more time to think about the answer, you can stop the video at any time and take your guess, and then you will hear my answer. So let's proceed. We sometimes blank our groceries on the weekend. We, your subject is we, and this is a plural subject. So we only use an S for a singular, third person singular. In this case, we have first person plural. So yes, you guessed that the answer is buy. We sometimes buy our groceries on the weekend. My dogs always blank on my bed. The subject here is dogs, my dogs, and this is plural. Of course, we don't need an S at the end. We don't need that. So we're going to choose sleep. My dogs always sleep on my bed. All right, my roommate blank 3 languages. So which one is it going to be? Speak or speaks? Roommate is he or she. Third person singular. So we're going to choose speaks. All right. They blank coffee every morning. What is it? They is plural. And of course, our choice is drink. They drink coffee every morning. Water blank at 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Well, this is an interesting sentence. You also remember from the video, if you have a non-count noun as your subject, non-count noun is always singular. Non-count nouns do not have plural forms, so they're always singular. And we need to choose a singular verb. A singular verb in English is represented by an S at the end of the verb. Remember that. It's an indication of a singularity in English. And in this case, the final sound is a Z, right? Freeze or freezes. What is it going to be? Water is singular. Yes, you guessed that. It's going to be freezes. Freezes as an additional syllable at the end of the verb freeze. Water freezes at 32 degrees Fahrenheit. A mechanic blank cars. All right, a mechanic is he or she. Third person singular. Fixes. Fixes. A mechanic fixes cars. She often blank chicken for dinner. She is singular, of course, third person singular S. She often eats chicken for dinner. My teacher usually blank at the front of the class. Teacher is he or she. Third person singular, we need an S. Stands. All right, so let's take a look if we have all the answers correct. Okay. Yes, I eat breakfast at 7 o'clock every morning. He always wears a suit to work. We sometimes buy our groceries on the weekend. My dogs always sleep on my bed. My roommate speaks 3 languages. They drink coffee every morning. Water freezes at 32 degrees Fahrenheit. A mechanic fixes cars. She often eats chicken for dinner. My teacher usually stands at the front of the class. Great job. So let's proceed. I'm going to go back to our grammar notes because it's next we want to talk about negative sentences. How do we form negative sentences in the simple present tense? Let's take a look. Okay, uh, simple present tense uh, typically has one verb, one word for the verb. But when you make a negative sentence, you need to add something else. You need to add a helping verb, do or does. For singular, third person singular, we add the verb, helping verb does. And for other persons, first person or third person plural or second person, we use the verb do. After the verb do, we need to add a particle not. Do not. And only then we use the base form. I do not sing, right? However, we usually don't say the full form do not, and it contracts in English to don't. Don't is a contraction, and it's a combination of do and not together. I don't sing, you don't sing, we don't sing, and you don't sing again, and they don't sing. If you have a third person singular, he, she, or it, you will use does as a helping verb, followed by not, and then followed by the base form. He does not sing. He does not sing. However, again, we usually say it with a contraction, doesn't. Doesn't is a combination of does plus not, as you can see here. So we'll say, he doesn't sing, she doesn't sing, and it doesn't sing. My dog, right? The dog. If you have a noun, it will be the same rule. My friends, friends is plural, as a plural subject, so you will use don't. My friends don't sing. If you have one friend, my friend, singular third person subject, my friend doesn't sing. Or you can say my dog doesn't sing, all right? It doesn't matter because it's going to be a third person singular. All right, so let's go to the exercises. With negative sentences. All right, I like summer. Okay, so what is our choice here? Doesn't like or don't like? I is first person singular. It's not he, she, or it. It's I. So our choice here is, of course, don't, right? I don't like winter. Jerry and Beth are strangers. They is third person. However, it's third person plural. So, and you know that we only use doesn't for singular third person. So our choice is going to be, Our choice is going to be do not. Jerry and Beth and they, this is plural, third person plural, do not. And as you can see here, we use the full form. They do not know each other. Or you can also say they don't know each other. She, and this is of course she, is a third person singular subject. We're going to use doesn't. She doesn't go to school on the weekend. She doesn't go to school on the weekend. My friend, third person singular. What is it going to be? You guessed it. Does not eat meat. Now let me slow down a little bit. I'll give you a little bit more time to think. But of course, as I said before, you can always stop the video, think about it, and then listen to the answer. Poor people. People in English is plural. Pay attention because in some languages, people may be singular. The word people itself may be singular, but the word people in English is plural, even though you don't have an S at the end of this word. So we're going to choose don't. Poor people don't have a lot of money. It's warm today. You, of course, it's not third person singular, it's you, first person. You don't need a coat. The shoe store, third person singular, shoe store, one store. Shoe store does not sell hats. My son blank early on the weekend. My son is a third person singular. My son, what's the choice here? You guessed it. It's doesn't get up early on the weekend. My son doesn't get up early on the weekend. And the last, no, not the last but one. Turtles blank quickly. Turtles is plural. It's third person, but it's plural. So we cannot use does not. We want to use do not. Purples do not move quickly. And here is our last sentence. You, not third person singular, it's first person singular. You don't wear jeans to a wedding. So let's take a look at what we have done here, if we have correct answers. And here we go. Sure it is. Sure enough, it's correct. I like summer. I don't like winter. Jerry and Beth are strangers. They do not know each other. She doesn't go to school on the weekends. My friend doesn't eat meat. Poor people don't have a lot of money. It's warm today. You don't need a coat. The shoe store doesn't sell hats. Well, actually, you have a full form here. The shoe store does not sell hats, but you can say does not sell hats or doesn't sell hats. It's the same. My son doesn't get up early on the weekend. Some of the answers here have full forms and some of the answers have contracted forms. It doesn't matter which one you choose. You can use either one. So normally when we speak, we use a contracted form. They just give you two forms for practice here. Turtles do not move quickly. You don't wear jeans to a wedding. All right, here we go. This is our negative sentence formation. And now we're going to go back to grammar notes and we're going to take a look at the questions, how we form questions here. Questions, here we go. Well, when we form questions, we also need to use we also need to use the helping verb do. We use helping verb does for third person singular, just as in negative sentences, he, she, or it. And for everything else, we use the verb do. However, the word order in a question will be different. Word order is very, very important in English. And in this case, you have to put the helping verb before the subject. So if, for example, if your sentence is, I have something in my teeth, right? I is your subject. So if you want to ask a question, you want to add the verb do before the subject. Do I have something in my teeth? And this is a yes or no question. You put the helping verb do before the subject. And the answer, a typical answer is a short answer, will be yes, you do, or no, you don't. If you want to ask somebody if they like pizza, you can say, do you like pizza? And the answer may be yes, I do, or no, I don't, right? Okay, so for, this is for the pronoun I and you singular. For plural pronouns, we also use do. We is a first person plural, and you is a second person plural. It is the same as second person singular. You in English, there is no difference. And then they is a third person plural. In all these cases, we're going to use a helping verb do to help us make a sentence, a question. Do we have time? Do we have time? Yes, we do. No, we don't. Do you like pizza? You're asking more than one person. It's the same as if you're asking one person. Yes, the answer will be yes, we do, or no, we don't. Do they like pizza? Yes, they do, or no, they don't. Okay? So now if you have a third person singular pronoun, he, she, or it, you will use does before the subject. For example, your sentence, she likes pizza. The question will be, does she like pizza? So what you need to pay attention here is when you say an affirmative sentence, you need to use an S at the end of the verb. She likes pizza. She likes pizza. But if you notice, in a question, we don't have an S at the end of the verb like. Why is that? Because we move that S to the helping verb does. And this is an indication of a third person singular. So you don't need to use that S twice. So the third person singular helping verb is does, and there is no S in the base form. You only use the base form without an S. Does she like pizza? Does she like pizza? And the answer is yes, she does, or no, she doesn't. Does he like pizza? Yes, he does. No, he doesn't. Does it run fast? Yes, it does. No, it doesn't. So we talked about the pronouns, and if you have a noun, it will be the same. Do you like do your roommates like pizza? Roommates is plural, so you use do for a helping verb, and it will be yes, they do, no, they don't. If you have a singular noun, then you use does. Does your brother like pizza? Yes, he does. No, he doesn't. Does your sister like pizza? Yes, she does. No, she doesn't. Does your dog like pizza? Or does your dog run fast? Yes, it does. No, it doesn't. All right. So this is how we make questions, we need to use helping verbs, do or does, before the subject. And we are going to go to this exercise with questions and answers. All right, so not really. I want to go back to the grammar notes. What we just discussed, we only discussed the yes or no questions here. However, your questions are sometimes of a different type. Your question may be a special question, information question, where you will use question words, in which case we are going to use question word before your helping verb. So in this case, you can see, do we have time? If you want to ask how much time, then before do, you will use the question, how much time? Then you will use the helping verb do, and then after that, you will use the subject, and then you will use the base form. So if you want to say, how much time do we have? We have 5 minutes or so, right? So this is one thing. And another something else that we would like to talk about before we go to the exercises, we want to discuss the uses of the simple present tense. In what case do we use simple present tense in English? Because in English we have different tense groups. We have simple, we have progressive, we have perfect, and we have perfect progressive. And all of these four groups, they have a present tense. So here we're only talking about simple present tense. How is it different from all other tenses, and in what situations we use the simple present tense? All right, so you need to pay attention to the time markers. We use that for repeated actions. Every time you have a repeated action, like every day, every week, every month, year, etc. So whatever is every second, doesn't matter. It will be simple present tense. If you indicate how many times, how often you do it, like once a week, twice a week, again, this is some sort of a repetition. You will also use a simple present tense. So for example, he brushes his teeth every day. So we have every day, right? We have the marker every. My coworkers write reports every morning. So every is your time marker, and it's an indication of a simple present tense. So let's take a look at this example. She walks her dog twice a day. So this is, again, an indication of a repetition, something that she does on a permanent basis, repeatedly. If you have a repetition, that's your simple present tense. Our neighbors have a garage sale 3 times a year. So 3 times a year is a repetition of that action. And another thing is when you indicate some sort of repetition, that is a frequency, how frequently you do a certain action, how frequently you repeat a certain action. In this case, you use adverbs of frequency. such as always, often, usually, sometimes, never, etc. And these are also repetitions, and these are indications of simple present. It often rains in springtime. They always do their homework, right? Okay. Well, here we have um, a diagram of adverbs of frequency. You can see, well, these are approximate numbers. It's not like there is any particular accurate measure, but this is ballpark, give or take. Zero is, of course, zero is never, right? From never to always, which is 100%. Almost never is close to never, but maybe occasionally you have some sort of repetition. Rarely, rarely means not very often. Um, Not very often, seldom is a little bit less rarely than rarely. Okay. So sometimes and occasionally would be right in the middle at 50%. Usually, often, frequently is at about 80%. Almost always is close to 100%, is 95%, and always is 100%. So everything between 100% and 0% here. All right. Another situation when we use simple present tense is when we have true facts, a statement of an accepted truth of a true fact. Water boils at 212 degrees Fahrenheit, right? That's a fact. Leaves fall off the trees in autumn. That's a fact. Dictionaries help students learn a new language. This is just an accepted fact, and there is no any particular indication of repetition or any other time frame. It's just a statement of fact. We also use that tense for schedules. And in this case, when you use it for schedules, it may mean a repetition of the schedule, or it can actually indicate a future event on that schedule, right? So it's like my favorite show starts at 7 p.m. My favorite show starts at 7 p.m. This may be one time in the future, later today, or it may be every night. So it may be a repetition or a statement of schedule which will happen in the future, but you don't need to use the future tense. We use the simple present tense. 5 buses leave the station at 10:15 a.m. Flight number 510 arrives in New York on Friday, right? Well, this looks like it hasn't happened yet. It will happen in the future, but because it's an indication of a forthcoming schedule, we use this simple present tense here for schedules. All right. Now that we have reviewed usage, we're going to go back to the exercises, and we are going to talk about question formation. Here, let's start with questions. Here we have different types of questions, both yes or no question, or yes or no question, or uh, uh, information question with question words. So what does she want for her birthday? What does she want for her birthday? So let's take a look at the structure. What is a question word? It starts the sentence. Does is your helping verb. We use it because she is your subject, and it's a third person singular. And then after the subject, we have the base form want, and it doesn't have an S here because we have does as a helping verb that already contains third person singular. So we're going to write the answer, a new shirt, right? The answer is a new shirt. So how are we going to answer? We are going to answer with a full affirmative statement. She, third person singular, wants a new shirt, right? So as you can see, we added this S here because in an affirmative sentence, we are not going to use a helping verb. It is only used for negatives and questions. And we need this indication of a third person singular. So here we have she wants a new shirt. That's very important. Next, who calls you every day? And the answer is my best friend. Who is a subject question, so we don't have a helping verb here. With subject questions, we don't use helping verbs. Who is already an indication of third person singular. It's a special type of questions that we will discuss separately at some point in time later. So we want to answer my best friend, which is of course a singular. My best friend calls me every day. All right. What time does the meeting start? And here, of course, we have a question, what time? We have a helping verb, does, and we have the meeting. The noun is the third person singular noun. Meeting is it. So we want to answer it starts at 2 p.m. And of course, you can see when we answer, we add this third person singular suffix starts, S at the end, starts at 2 p.m. How often do you brush your teeth? You is the subject and it's not third person singular. So we're going to answer, I brush my teeth. Of course, my teeth, right? Not your teeth. I brush my teeth twice a day. All right. How much does the book cost? The book is your subject and it's a third person singular subject. It costs $10. It costs, we added an S here, third person singular. It costs $10. All right. Okay. So here are the answers. She wants a new shirt. My best friend calls me every day. It starts at 2 p.m. I brush my teeth twice a day. It costs $10. So all right. So, and there is another exercise on question formation. Let's continue with that. I live in Paris, France. Okay, so this is information question. I is the subject. Well, you can ask a question about yourself, or you can ask another person. So instead of I, you can use the subject you. So now we're going to use you because you're asking not yourself. Maybe in this case, you probably know where you live, but you're asking somebody where they live. So we are going to start with the question word where. And then if we want to say you, the helping verb is do. And after that, we use the subject you. And after the subject, we'll use the base form. Where do you live? Where do you live? I live in Paris, France. Right? Now the answer is here. I live in Paris, France. My birthday is in June. Oh, again, you're asking somebody, when is your birthday? And the answer that person answers, my birthday is in June. So I'm going to say, when is your birthday? Oh, okay, nice. In this case, we don't have a verb to, we have a verb to be. And with the verb to be, you do not use the verb do. Whenever your verb is be, all you need to do is to put the right form of the verb be before your subject. When is your birthday? When you say my birthday is in June, let's take a look at this sentence. My birthday is in June, right? So this is the answer. A birthday is a third person singular subject is, and we are asking a question about the third person singular subject, birthday. This is why we use is as your verb. They want to talk to the teacher. The question is, who? Excuse me. Okay. So now let's see if we can fix some errors here. Well, this is obviously not a correct sentence because in English, If we have anything other than the verb to be, we need to use a helping verb, do or does. And this, the verb speak, is not the verb to be. Then we have to say he doesn't speak English, right? Well, this would be the same as does not speak English. My favorite TV show. TV show is third person singular, so we obviously have to add an S at the end of the verb. Starts at 8 p.m. Well, in this case, twice a day is just one day, so the answer is twice a day, not days. It means 2 times every day. In one day, I walk my dog 2 times, twice a day. You're asking a person, one person or 2 people, so you have to use do, not does. Do you eat breakfast at 7 a.m.? Well, again, watch is a verb that is not a verb to be, so we need to use a helping verb, do or does here. She is a third person singular, so we're going to use the verb does. She does, she does not watch TV. Or you can say she doesn't watch TV. Well, it's the same. Again, have is not the verb to be, so we need to use do as a helping verb. They do not have a dog. They do not have a dog, or they don't have a dog. It's the same. What time? He is a third person singular, so we need to use does, not do. What time is a question. What time is your question? Helping verb does he, what is it? Walk his dog? Wake up every day. Wake up every day. What time does he wake up? Every day. Okay, so here we use a frequency adverb often, but that frequency adverb has to appear before the main verb, not after the main verb. It's very important in English, the position of words in a sentence. So the correct answer is, we often play baseball. So to use the frequency adverb after the main verb is incorrect, right? So you have to use it before, in the position before the verb. We often play baseball. Okay, so let's see. He doesn't speak English. My favorite TV show starts at 8 p.m. I walk my dog twice a day. Do you eat breakfast at 7 a.m.? She doesn't watch TV. they do not have a dog, or they don't have a dog, which is the same. What time does he wake up every day? We don't play baseball. Submit. Answer. All right. So looks like we're done with this exercise, with these exercises. And that was a review of our simple present tense. Thank you for watching. Let me know if you have any additional questions that I can cover for you, and we will meet next time. Have a nice weekend. Bye.